how do you define the difference between a consultant and a person who works for a consulting firm that is playing the role of a contractor? What makes those two people different?
Who's giving the orders? So,
that's quite concise.
so it really comes down to who's in charge. And I had early in my consulting career, I had a team lead that told me something like, go look at your calendar. Do you own the majority of the meeting invites on your calendar, or does someone else own them? If someone else owns them, you're a contractor. If you own them, you're a consultant. And that was kind of a physical way of telling the same story of who's in control. So if you're working at the behest of your client, if you're taking orders from your client, if they're sending you a list of tasks, if they're assigning you JIRA tickets, you are a contractor. If you are setting the agenda, if you are providing the path, if you are giving a list of things that the consultant or the client needs to work on and deadlines when they need to get back to you, you are a true consultant. And there's a lot of gradation between that. But when you're on those two polar extremes, it's really easy to see that, okay, this person is operating in the role of a contractor, and this person is operating the role of a true expert that is consulting the business to get them to a better state. And not that contractors can't be part of that, right? Contractors can definitely help get companies to a better state, but they can't do so in isolation. They're dependent on someone else, either another consultant or someone within the organization, to provide the direction, the strategy, and give them their operational details, their orders for how to get there. And all of those are important roles, but it's important to make that distinction between the two and what one is and what one isn't.
Is it a bad thing to be a contractor in this particular sense?
No, I don't think so at all. Again, I think it's a very needed role, especially when we're talking bandwidth wise. And we've seen companies, unfortunately, very sick companies where they need help. They need warm bodies doing work, and they're being told by operations, they're being told by HR that, oh, we have a hiring freeze, you can't hire, but hire all the contractors you want. So, absolutely, they fit a very real need. It's a very valuable service and a role. Again, for me, it's less about which one's more valuable. It's really what you're trying to solve for. They're all kind of important in the larger view of things. But in order for them to work, everybody needs to know their role, and there needs to be someone that helps orchestrate and coach those roles to operate in unison. And unfortunately, that doesn't happen very often, in which everyone, and I love using this analogy, back in the 80s, the football game that you sit on the table with the sheet metal and you put the players on it, you turn it on, they all vibrated around. That's how a lot of teams and organizations work. They're kind of off doing their own thing because they're missing that key role. And again, sometimes it can be a consultant. We play this for several of our clients where there's lots of other agencies involved. It can be a strong leader within the client side, but someone needs to orchestrate getting all of these teams to work together. But in short, to answer your question, no. I mean, there's, if you're a contractor, your goal isn't necessarily, oh, I should become a consultant. No, not necessarily. It just depends on what you want to do, what fulfills you, what type of work you enjoy doing. It's not that one is better or, they're just different roles, and both are needed.
So in that case, what does it mean to be a consultant? We talked about, we kicked this off with you going through the reasons why someone would, and we jumped right into like the last one of the objective view, being able to provide feedback maybe employees can't. But if we were to zoom back out again for a minute, what does it mean to be a consultant? What does it mean to be hired in that role by an organization, whether you're a one-person outfit or you're part of a consulting team?
So I'll use my definition of what I see a consultant is, not necessarily what the broader, because there are a lot of people that call themselves consultants that aren't necessarily consultants, right?
Yeah.
So I will use my definition of what it means to be a consultant. Re-ask me the question.
What does it mean to be a consultant?
So To be a true consultant really is to be a guide. You're and this is again a huge differentiator between what a consultant is and what a non-consultant is. A consultant is there to define the path, to define the experience, to set the waypoints, to help keep everyone together and safe. But a consultant's job isn't to also be all of the team members. That is a contractor, right? And so I like to use mountaineering examples a lot. A consultant is the guide that's going to get you up to the top of the mountain and back. And they're going to think about, where do we need oxygen along the way? Where do we need to fix ropes? Where are we going to camp? Do we have the right supplies? What day do we need to leave? What is our agenda? How many miles are we going to go? That's the role of a consultant. They are truly guides. A contractor would be a member of the team that you hire for a specific need. We're hiring Jim to haul all the food. You're the contractor, and your job as the contractor is to haul all the food, right? So that's really the main differentiator. So your role as a consultant should be to be guiding your clients. If you're not guiding them, in my definition, again, and this is not a broadly necessarily agreed upon definition, but in my definition, if you are not being a guide, you are not a consultant. You're a contractor. You're being contracted to do a job.